Sometimes I think that you might like it here. Come to that, I guess you've made it clear. You still think I'm crazy, and that won't be changing soon. And you never come see me.
Hi, welcome to Dreamery Productions recording studio. Today we have our first guest as a recording artist that we're doing a video interview of, Steve Davey, and he recently completed his new album, Come See Me on the Moon, and we'll show you a close-up of that later on. We can get into the album arts and graphics, but let's just get right into talking to Steve and finding out how he got this idea for these songs and this album collection. And I have to say, I really, really love this album, which is one of the reasons I kind of talked him into recording with me here. When I heard the song called Goats on the Moon, I was just blown away with the lyrics and the idea, and it was just so much fun. I said, I've got to record this if you're willing. So I've got to know your interest in doing, I don't know what to call it, maybe sci-fi folk music or,
Exactly.
or future folk.
Yeah.
How did you get the idea for this album?
Well, you mentioned Goats on the Moon. That was a sort of whimsical piece that I did. Not sure where it came from. Writing stuff like this, you kind of begin with something that you're familiar with and something that you're familiar with in a completely different context and try to figure out how you could blend them together. And I just had this twisted idea of what would a goat do if they were on the moon, and you start thinking of them jumping around in low gravity and being as destructive as they are in real life otherwise. And it just sort of led into that. Well, how would you actually base this kind of a thing in something close to science? Like, how would they really behave? How would you really deal with them? How would you have food to feed them? And that's where you get references to growing things on the moon to feed your goats, as if you would. And then the song grew out of that.
Let's play a clip of that song. We'll just give people a sample of
We
it.
build the domes and soon plant terran grasses on the moon and graze the goats on cratered beds of green. Since ancient times acknowledged for their worth, the most common dairy animal on earth. Now we got goats on the moon, out there in the lunar browse. Goats on the moon, so much more sensible than cows. If our species will survive through politics and pride, there will be goats on the moon at milking time.
So have you always had an interest in science and science fiction and technology?
My parents always read a lot of science fiction, and this would be stuff that was written in the 50s and 60s and that sort of thing. So those paperbacks were always kicking around with those bizarre covers and whatnot, which had nothing to do with the content of the book. And I read through all of those and then began taking books out of the library, that stuff, just because I liked it. And I also, whatever was playing on television in black and white in my house at that time would have been Lost in Space and Star Trek and that sort of thing. I was always into that. Thought early on that I would be an astronaut until I found out that some of the socio-political complications of that weren't going to let that work. So I just moved on to pretending instead, and kept track of the space program. I'm always very interested in what was going on. We always in my house were keeping track of that. I remember sitting in the kitchen listening on the radio to a play-by-play of one of the early Rangers crash landing on the moon. The whole countdown thing, and it was fascinating. And from then on to the actual landing on the moon in the 60s and 70s.
And Goats on the Moon is the one that really brought me to your music. But when I heard Moondog too, that really is a heart-touching song. It's that poor dog on the moon just seems so lonely, and your melody and the words really bring that message forth. Yeah, let's pause for a second and play a couple of clips from that. We'll do Little Moondog, and then a clip from Lunar Long Haul Drive.
Like the earth dogs know, Where can you dig in the sterile ground? Things a dog would drag around. Nothing buried to be found. And you're a sad dog. Growl if you want, bark if you dare. Howl at the earth in a plastic sky that's always dark and clear. Moondog, whose best friend are you? Whose best friend are you? She looked up one night to where the moon shone bright and remembered how she'd heard 'em advertise. No experience expected, all applicants considered if you do the lunar long haul drive. She keeps 6 wheels down at the company's call and she hauls on the company's time. For the people in town's dug deep underground, but she'd rather take her time topside. When she was just a girl, they promised her the moon when promises were empty inside. She gets paid now just to go kicking up the dust as she heads up the long haul drive. I really hate daylight saving time. I think it's absurd. I think it just should be eliminated. There's really no point to it. If you want to end on the half hour, that's okay with me, but pick a time and stay with it.
Yeah.
Living in the northern hemisphere, or living anywhere 40 degrees or more either side of the equator, you're going to have changes in the length of day. Just deal with it. But I had an incident where just after the daylight saving time shift in the spring, I was driving to a job that I worked at across the river, and was going through by as comes out in the song, a guy that walks his dog down by the lake, whom I know, who's a very nice man, almost ran into and killed him because I was late because of the time change and I wasn't paying attention. I did send him a copy of the CD and apologize. And that's where this song came out of.
I heard he really likes the song, and he feels a little bit famous by being in it.
Oh, great!
I
great.
know Bill too. So.
Yes, and the PTSD is almost gone
Almost
now. We
gone.
hope. Yeah.
Yeah, nobody likes daylight saving time. So let's play a clip from Daylight Saving Time off of the new CD, "Come See Me on the Moon" by Steve Davey.
I went to bed too late last night. Got up way too soon. It's hours before I'll see the sun. I've got half a moon. The day is dark, the clocks are wrong. I won't be worth a dime. Tell me what's the point of doing daylight saving time? I cursed George Vernon Hudson, now I take his name in vain. Back in 1895, this bright idea lit up his brain. Hear me mutter imprecations now against the party line. Why can't we all just keep our clocks on local standard time?
That one song, "Blind Eye." What's the backstory on that one?
Yeah, that's another side of human behavior. You have someone who's living in a closed environment on the moon, and he's not a nice person, and he misuses and abuses somebody to the point where somebody decides that he's got to go, and they kill him. And what Blind Eye is about a situation where he has been murdered, and everyone in that situation believes that he bloody well deserved it, and no one's going to tell who did it, and that's the way it is.
So let's play a clip of a Blind Eye for a second, so people can hear a little bit of that, and then we'll come right back.
There's gonna be a big investigation to try and figure out just how you died. It'll soon become clear something happened to you soon to make your lungs blow up inside. They say you never had authorization vacation, 'cause you never logged an EVA. And why you were alone out on the surface is a mystery that will not go away. Nobody that you knew is gonna miss you or want to pay to send your body home. They like to say that every life is sacred. Yours was just a waste of flesh and bone.
All right, I hope you enjoyed that clip of Blind Eye from Steve Davies' new album, Come See Me on the Moon. So we're going to let you know where to buy this or where to listen to it online. The instructions will be on the screen. And enjoy this final song as we exit our interview. So thank you, Steve, for joining us today and sharing your message and your music with our listeners. Hopefully we will have some listeners because this is our first one. So anyway, thanks a lot and take care.
Thank you very much.
Bye, everybody.
Drummer in the band said he knew about a bar down in Billy. You play for drinks and food, and Saturdays you even get paid. We were in demand in outlier craters like Billy, so we loaded up the gear on an outbound transport train. Crowd was pretty rough, mostly chippers on leave from the mines. After weeks on the ice, they were barely civil most of the time. The whole room smelled like hot, fat, wet rock and tar. The singer said she had to break the finger of a guy at the bar. That's how they do it down in Billy. That's how they did it back on Earth. You get in trouble down in Billy, somebody there can find you work.